Hello everyone, Jensen Vars here. In this actual play, I'm going to focus on testing my system for playing solo with the least amount of GM side effort as possible. I know it's hard, it takes a lot of practice, but maybe if this works out and I get blocked very little, then I would of course share a template for this system, but for now I'm going to just share it as I use it. So my idea when playing solo is to try to minimize the amount of time I get blocked, the amount of questions I need to do in order to get going, and in a way try to have a smooth experience where I don't have to stop a lot, basically. So how to do it? In this experiment I'm going to run Nova Praxis, so it's a sci-fi setting with post-humanism effort in which humans go through what's called apotheosis in order to transform a mind into a software of anyone, and then this software can be replicated and actually received. So only 30% or 35% of humanity has undergone that, so it's not a setting where it's fully like altered carbon, but it's more like a bit more resisted, let's say. So there's still a lot of pure humans out there, and there's still this double morality conflicts, and it's quite a hard sci-fi setting, still interstellar, it's still interplanetary, most of it across the solar system, but a little bit also outside, because there are actually wormholes that allow jumping in space. So with this said, my plan to play as smoothly as possible, if it works well, is to have an adventure that's prepared in a way, not prepared fully, but a plot hook that was generated following my 30 minutes from scratch system. Basically, it's made of a checklist that says, okay, have at least one protagonist, two non-protagonist, one antagonist in the background, a big plot line, two minor plot lines, and a first scene. So that's what I did. It's kind of prep time. I did it with the Adventure Crafter, and then I put all of it in a Adventure Crafter list, which I'm going to use with Mythic. So I've got here a bunch of things like the PCs, a mining station that went missing, a few smugglers that we might find, and plot lines. So I'm going to clear this up because I was actually testing something, so I'm going to minimize it to the minimum of 3 plot lines. That's to start with. The plot lines I've came with is first is a hazard of cells in Europa, which is a moon of Jupiter. There are like power outages and anomalies found, and Europa is an underwater, a sea world moon in which there's a facility station, a research station with millions of people in there. And yes, there's been a problem, and our PCs are being called to check that out in name of their houses. In Nova Praxis, mostly everyone belongs to a house, which represents like feudal organization in the interstellar world. There's also apostates, which is people living in the dark, not belonging anywhere. But other than that, most of them belong to this and follow these laws of the houses. The second plotline is related to two houses in interest of conflict, not trusting each other. Our PCs are going to be part of one of those houses, actually, from house. Let me check here. We have Balev and Bora. They belong to House Tsaria. And yes, there's been tension between the Tsaria and the Silva house. So for this mission, there was a public arrangement in which Agent Folden from Silva House would oversee the operation of this investigation mission in this sea world planet. So this is a bit the second plotline. And the third plotline is a missing mining station. and that's around Jupiter as well. There are many questions about what happened, and the reason it's important it's because this mining station was being used to monitor the activity of the terraforming plans on this moon. So it might have to do, it might not have to do. It's intelligence information. That's what Adventure Crafter gave me. So I think those are pretty cool plot lines to have. And I've got aliens, the sewer. Going to leave it open here. Going to clean up a bit here. We have the PCs mentioned a bunch of time. Going to clean up everything that I did for an experiment before. I'm going to leave this mining station as a character in case we find something, and there's also some smugglers. So if we clean up this list, it's going to look something like this. I think it's fair to have it like this. You will notice a few of them repeat because, well, it might have more weight. So yes, an adventure crafter pre-preparation before the game starts, a setting that serves as a context and a reference. The third step is what I consider motivations, which is following my blog article for setting up good motivation. So I'm not taking it too hard. I'm actually simplifying it. I don't like also systems that are overcomplicated. So before you think this is overcomplicated, this is mostly Adventure Crafter pre-set up before the game starts. Not much more than that. I've created the character, so I don't want to record all of that. It would be a bit too much. On top of that, the motivations of each characters. So I did it by randomizing with the Oracle an external goal and an internal goal. So I want there to be conflict. So for example, Bailiff, he's been the one related to working on the mining station, Tsar 1, that went missing. So he was invoked to do this investigation in Europa. They think he might be accused, so he has some problem, and his inner goal is that he's, well, been accused by the law, and he's trying to, well, work on this mission to show that he's not guilty of anything strange. Bora, she's a scientist. She's more on the investigation of this anomaly, so she's personally interested, but her inner goal is that she wants these crystals, these terraforming crystals, I'm going to call them here, from terraforming crystals. These are like the artifact name I managed to have from these terraforming artifacts that are causing trouble right now. So she's against disabling them or turning them off. So I'm not sure why yet, but this is an interesting inner conflict. And last but not least is this agent they put on this mission from a different house, House Silva, to monitor the mission. So he's kind of the unwelcome guest on the party, and he counts as an NPC. So PCs are these two. Foldan counts as an NPC. That means, well, he has that plot armor, let's say. So that's the setup. What's next is my guideline is to make scenes interesting. So since this is going to involve location exploration, this is not necessary, but since we are going to have to find the crystals first, the terraforming crystal underwater, I set up very quickly a location crafter list, this one. So I drafted it very quickly, but the key element here is that the random elements, I map them to a concrete random table I want to use. So when I hit this value, I know what to roll. I don't want to get stuck thinking. Same for random objects or random. So I found a few random tables that could work well. Of course, it has pros and cons, but I don't want to get stuck when this happens. So this is my third tip of speeding up a game, hopefully. So if I haven't lost you yet, we have a setup for a solo game, and I think we are ready to get started. So our characters are done. Bailiff has 2 stunts. This is Fate, by the way. And Bora has 1 stunt, so it's open. I might improve them later as I need. But yeah. So let's begin with the game. How would the first scene look like? And since my characters are going to be underwater, I'm going to start the adventure right away in the action of exploring in a submarine. I have a vehicle here, a Sathios 9. It has some skills and some stunts. I've used Nova Praxis skill sets for vehicles. That's, I think, as far as I got, because Nova Praxis is really crunchy. I haven't used the rules there. But this is as a reference, the vehicle we'll be traveling on. It has an AI that helps on research and micro torpedoes and jump jets. It's quite a maneuverable vehicle. So let's get into the game finally. The first scene. Let's see what we want to propose. I'm going to roll it on the location list. So we'll start with 3d6. And we've got 6, 2, and 6. That means we're going to get a random element on this table. 2 non-encounters, no predefined encounters. And something special here. So let's see what the special is. I know we have to roll 1d100 and go to the location crafter to see what this special means. 96 meaning, I think it's random. No, sorry, 91, random element. Okay, so it's a random element, but it's an abstract object. So we're going to find something that we are not expecting for sure. In which location? Let's see which location. We rolled random water elemental location is the table. Let's roll for that. Random water elemental location, this one. Okay, so we got something here. A sword waterspout. The first scene is going to be in the water, named for the spout's predilection for slicing through anything that comes into its vicinity. This enormous elemental spout is even more dangerous than might be thought from its size. The water spout appears to be eternal, comprised as its elemental water, and moreover has intelligence. It doesn't just destroy things that venture close, it actively seeks them out in order to trap them and destroy them. The water spout also moves incredibly quickly, given its vast size, and often goes from a distant threat to a present danger far fast and unexpected. So, water sprout, what is that? Water spout, I have never heard of this word. I guess it's like a hurricane, right? Yeah. Tornadic. Okay, so it's like a tornado. Okay, so we're going to be experiencing like a seaward hazard as soon as we start this game. And something to help us. This is the fifth tip structure, which is an extra column on the scene setup, which is a goal. I want to start the scene with the goal predefined. Even if it's not 100% clear, I don't want to stop mid-game. And for that, we're going to roll in a table that I made up. I can share it later. It's based on 3-cube solo rules. It tells basically what's the main goal of this scene. So it's going to be a hard physical test. So if you follow my thought process a bit, what we want is we're going to have Cepheus 9 will find a water spout, a dangerous, hazardous, natural or alien phenomena. It is lethal. And there's a goal which is a hard physical test. So this kind of helps me out figuring out what can happen. So the scene starts. We're going to be on the submarine floating on the water. And we're going to need to see if the crew is going to spot it. And I'm going to check if a scene alteration alters this proposal. This is Mythic's scene alteration. Proceeds normally. So, and now this is where the game starts. I mean, I'm exaggerating it so I can share my thought process. What I want is to have enough information to play through a scene. I don't want to get stuck mid-game. So yes, the Sirius 9, it comes across deep ocean places. They're going to go deep into the darkness. They're not on the surface anymore. And the radars are going to start spotting an anomaly. Bailov is going to ask Bora to check that out. They are looking for the crystal core, which is the terraforming device on this moon that's causing or supposedly causing problems based on research from scientifics. So Bora is going to check if she can spot this in time. It's going to be a difficult 1d4 plus 1 difficulty, so I usually do random difficulties. And she's going to use Notice. She has a stunt scanner processor expert. And that's quite bad roll. And yes, there's not much that we can do. That's a 2 against a 3, it's failing. So the Cepheus 9 is going to start shaking up. And Bailow's going to say, what's going on? What is that? Bora is not going to be able to tell. Agent Folden is going to be nervous about it and is going to ask the AI, Cepheus 9, what is going on? And the AI is going to check. I'm going to check if the AI can know something. So this is based on systems level. Difficulty is still 3. And not enough, unfortunately. So the AI is going to say, I'm sorry, I cannot identify this problem. A natural phenomenon of some sort is affecting the gravitational forces of the location. Bella's going to say, okay, pull us off. Take us to a safe place. I'm going to ask, can the AI identify where the last safe place was? Because I'm not sure. Yes. Yes, I will try in automated safe mode. Please hang tight. And the Cepheus is going to shake so hard, it's going to be pulled off. So let's see, there's going to be a test. First, there's going to be a physical attack because we had a hard physical test here. It's going to be the right moment for that. The Cepheus is shaking so hard, it's going to cause an attack against its own crew. And I'm going to set a force of 3 because this was the reference challenge of this phenomena. Going to use it against the crew itself. And this is going to attack its own crew with a +1. So it's a bad roll for the first round. Each of them have to hand tight. So Bailiff is going to roll physique. He's going to use his body strength to resist this against a 1. So he's fine, no stress for him. Agent Folden is going to try to... he's quite bad at body control, apparently. I'm going to give him a stun to use his fight. So, fighter intuition. Since he has fight training, he might can use fight instead of athletics for defending against shaking forces. I guess I'm not sure how specific is that, but that's good enough for now. He has to just be better than 1. He takes 1 stress, so he's taking a bad punch, but he manages to sit. And Bora, she tries to hurry up. and she's going to have a hard time likely. There's no fate aspect she can use for this. So yeah, do your best, Bora. And she does a very good job. So she manages to wear the seat belts before things get really bad. So yes, the Theseus is shaking really bad. A very strong spout is attracting the ship, and now the AI is going to try to maneuver the ship. It has system 2 difficulty stealth 3, and that's a success with a cost. So I'm going to guess it will take some structural stress point. I'm going to roll 1d4 for the amount. That's 3 stress points. So Theseus submarine is pushing with so much strength, trying to stay away from this. And this is going to be the second round. So yes, the question is how many token successes it will need. At this pace, 3. So this one was success. If anyone has pilot drive, so Vora could override and help the AI escape this. And the others can do nothing, I guess, but sit down. Alright, so second round, the Theseus is trying to pull from this huge, powerful tornado. It's going to be a different attack, so it's going to be a new attack against the crew. That's a poor attack of 1. Luckily again, it's managing to pull itself over. So everyone to defend against that exactly the same way. This is good, succeeded. He's going to use fight as before. Oh, this is terrible. That's a -2 against a attack of 1. So that's a failure, which, yeah, it's failure, critical failure. So it's gonna boost B there. Agent Holden got loose from his chair. I'm going to put some stressful music. Come on, come on, come on, come on. Keep it rolling. Keep it rolling. Tense. Yes. It's a bit too loud, but okay. So they're having a bad time. Agent Holden loses his chair and he takes very bad hit. He takes the shifts 1, 2, 3 stress points of damage. It's going to take 2 stress and a mild consequence. Injured shoulder. So yeah, and that injured shoulder is also going to be a boost. Come on, get us out of here. And now it's going to be the active turn. Systems. So Bora wants to use her action to help here. She also has a drive of 2, so she's going to adjust +1 to this roll. Difficulty still 3. 3 cost with success. With cost, success with cost, 3 stress again. So it's going to take a consequence. So it's going to have a burned out jet. This is the first consequence. It's making a terrible amount of effort. And let's see what's next. So that was Bora and Sathya's active actions. What will Agent Folden do? So he's going to try to sit back up, I guess. So that's going to be an athletics roll. I feel bad for him. Come on, he's going to spend a fate point to do this, and he's going to do an athletics roll against a difficulty of... Okay, he got a 2 against 4. So he's failing to come back up, and Bailiff is going to help him for sure. Going to create an advantage with his physique. Going to try to... No, maybe Craft is going to lend him a rope. And difficulty 2 to create disadvantage. That's 4. Create an advantage. Rope for Folden. It's unfair to have that happen after Folden tried to catch up, so let's see if Folden could have succeeded. Athletics +0 against 4. He had spent 2 fate points because he's a soldier and he's some physical training. +2 from using this rope. That's a success with a cost. And the cost for him is going to be a stress for Bailiff. Stress for 2 points of stress. So Bailiff is really making an effort. And yeah, it's quite a stressful situation. But still, they managed to succeed a second token. So third token. Again, this tornado underwater is going to attack the crew. And that's a 4. That's the biggest shake up. It's quite hefty. Yeah, it's quite hard, I would say. So again, Bailiff's going to try to keep tight and defend this. He gets 2 stress. He's having a hard time. Agent Folden is again sitting down, but as a GM, I'm going to use his injured shoulder to make it hard for him. Oh, that's unfair, I know. But you do your best. Fight it. 3 against 4. He's failing 1 stress. Plus his injured shoulder is giving it a +2 to the enemy. So he's failing really bad. And he's going to take a second consequence. He's going to smash head side. And he's a bit about to be unconscious. Bailiff, take care of Fallen. Bora also needs to defend. With her null. She's going to spend a fate point on this. So that's a 1 plus fate point spent because there's nothing to spend a fate point on, sorry about that. So 1 versus 3, that's 4 stress points. She's going to take 2 stress and 2 mild consequence. She's going to have her twisted left arm and she's going to have a hard time. She performs a bad movement. And now let's see. I have to roll against difficulty 3. It's systems +1 because Bora is going to spend her active rounds helping here. +3 is again 3 against 3 is success with a cost. So burned out jets, it's gonna become jets need repairing. And an alarm's going to ring out, but they're going to make it out of the tornado this time. And That's some sound. And yeah, so they succeed at a very high cost to move out from the sprout that they never see coming. Could not see it coming. And this is the scene end. So I had fun. Going to write it down. A lethal waterspout anomaly on this alien planet. Outcome: AI driven submarine. Crew made it alive. Injured. Thank you. Let's see how the second scene rolls as an example. So we need to go to the locations list, add a progress point 1, 1, 1, and roll d6 3 times again. 4, 3, 4 plus 1 each is 5, 4, 5. So 5, another random water elemental location. That's going to be stressful. 4 is going to be alien life this time. And 5 here is a random xenoarchaeological find. So it's going to be a very busy afternoon, is it? Okay, so let's see what has. We need to roll these randoms so we can set up the scene. Random water elemental locations and xenoarchaeological find. So random water elemental location and xenoarchaeological finds. So about the place, it's a crystal. I'm totally linking this to our plot. Dense crystalline structure formed from pure elemental water, solidified through blasphemous forbidden magic. Okay, we're going to skin that a bit into sci-fi. But we said there's alien here. So you know what? I'm going to leave this for scene number 3 because the crew will want to take a break. So I'm going to write this alien crystal, and then as an object they might find a silvery liquid that looks very like mercury, except that it moves around of its own accord. So strange silvery liquid. So this is what they might find in the third scene, but first they're going to take a break. And the break is not difficult. I'm not going to roll a scene change because they're not at scene challenge, because they're not going to move towards threat. They're going to recover themselves and catch a breath. And investigate the past anomaly. I think this makes much more sense than what we rolled here. Goal, recover, understand. Not to be quite clear. I'm not sure what they will learn, but maybe they will learn something. Otherwise, it was effort for nothing. So, the submarine gets into a safer area of the water, and they are all pretty agitated. Bailiff's going to ask Bora, what was that? Why didn't we see it? Bora's going to analyze the logs, and she's going to study the logs actually. Going to roll an investigate difficulty 1d4. 3. She's going to review the logs. She's going to succeed there, so she's going to take some time reading what happened with the logs that they didn't foresee that coming. And Bailiff is going to help Agent Folden, who got badly injured. Are you alright? Yes, it was not so bad. But you need to attend those wounds, let me help. And they're going to go to the small med bay of the submarine and going to take care of him. So Bailiff, shall he have some medical skills? I'm going to give him a stunt for that. Medical training. or like first aid, let's say. It's going to give him +2 crafts when tending wounds. And the difficulty is definitely 4 to improve this one, or 2. Let's see, they're going to take the time to improve those wounds, at least the mild ones. But that was terrible. Very terrible. So he's going to put some bandages on Agent Folden's head, but he's not feeling better. And Bailiff's gonna ask if he feels alright, but he doesn't feel alright. He's a bit dizzy. Bailiff says, "Ah, oh, damn it. We might need a medic. What we do?" And Bora, she's investigating on the log, so she's too busy. That was a poor roll. Triple minus. We used a stunt, so it would be a total result of 1. So the stress is going to go away after the end of the scene, that's for sure. But things are not looking good for Fulton. They're going to be busy on that, and I'll see how it goes. Let's see what Bora learns from these spouts. So I need to ask, are the spouts an alien phenomena? I don't think so. It's most likely something from the moon features. Definitely not. Okay, so it was nothing unexplainable. It was just like an underground change of, like it has a physical explanation that Bora finds. Let's see if we can explain it. If that doesn't help, I'm going to let it go. I don't think I will be able to explain physics through an oracle. So I'm ignoring that for now. But yes, she finds a physical explanation. And the question is, can she improve? Can the sensors be improved for new spout? So she's definitely trying to make a research to learn from this event. She's trying to collect all of the data that she can. I mean, if something can be done right now, it's usually unlikely. It's very hard. But maybe she can configure them at least to create an advantage. So yes, she can do something to create an advantage. I'm going to clean up here. This boosts. And I'm going to create a permanent advantage on the ship. It's going to be spout enhanced detection sensors implemented by Bora. So that's what she got with this Investigate 6. So she doesn't really cannot explain them exactly, but they are a physical phenomena of how the tectonics of this moon behave, and the best she can do is improve the ship. And Bailiff has been busy trying to help Folden, and they cannot do much. Folden's going to have to wait a bit more and rest. And the Cepheus 9 is going to clear its stress. It also needs repairing right now, so they have a damaged ship. So they spend some time taking a break. And I think of all the most mechanical persons, either Bailiff, he's a field research engineer, no. Agent Folden, so I'm going to give, no, he has terrible crafts. Maybe it's his ship. He was part of the deal, so Cepheus has been granted. So Cepheus is his ship. He's from House Silva. And I'm going to give him a stunt. Mechanical training. It's going to give him a +2 craft when repairing the Sithius 9. It's quite linked to it, let's say. Going to spend 1 fate point to make sure we succeed there. In Sithius 9 has been granted. Going to roll crafts at +4. That's a 6, and we wanted to fix consequences equivalent to 6, so that's a good success. The jets are no longer burned, but let's say the jets needs cool out time. So yes, they have to wait, and Agent Folden is quite injured, so that's a bit. He had a bad hard time with. But he managed, so lots of hours are spent after the first catastrophe of a scene. And they decide to take a break today, and let's see if something happens. Scene alteration check for this scene. Since decide to stand still. And they get an alteration. So they expect a quiet underwater, but something is not like it expects. What can be altered from what they expected? Maybe there is impact from the spout still, and they need to get further, so they cannot rest. Okay, so this scene was altered. It's not a great spot. They need to get a bit further away, and they're going to spend the rest of the evening moving farther away from it. And that's going to be scene number 2. Recover, understand. Crew cannot rest because uneasy spout leftovers, let's say, let's call it, or side effects. But Folden fixes the burned out jets, and Bora discovers improves the sensors against future spouts. Tracks research nodes, so maybe even they can be sold or exchanged in the future. So this was scene number 2. Let's go to scene number 3. They're going to be traveling towards the crystals they're looking, and they enter a place. They will find something. A huge, dense, crystalline structure formed from pure elemental water, solidified through forbidden ways by aliens, at any rate. For scientists from other planets, this is more tolerant. The crystalline structure is detrimental to elemental water creatures that approach too close, as they too might get turned to crystal from the warping effect, which is why it's forbidding. It makes the region somewhat safe place to hide from elemental water beings, but it isn't healthy from any material creature. So I'm going to read this as, of course, a phenomenon of the moon, Europa. And what the crew might be able to tell, if they are smart enough, is that there's less living beings in this area, so they might find the place to rest, actually. So this might not be necessarily mean something bad. There are no encounters on the scene, and third, they might discover this silvery liquid mercury like that moves around on its own course, so they can discover some new element formation, let's say. So the goal is find a place. In the sea world. And we need to roll for the challenge, the main challenge of this scene. It's an easy, crafty scene. Oh, I have a typo. Crafty dude. It's an easy, crafty test. So there's going to be an investigation test related, which is fine. Canberra. Investigate this strange place. So they're going to be looking at strange crystalline formations. This is totally related to the plot. And I'm going to roll an event for what this strange location has as an impact. Fate check. No, sorry. Event check. What happens around these crystalline formations? So what happens is that someone's going to end up doing something, trying to control the competition. Okay. To me it sounds like there's other people here investigating as well and trying to prevent us from entering. I'm going to roll on the tack to update this. Character number 5 is a new character. Okay, that fits perfectly fine. On 5, however, we have crystal. Okay, I think this is a leftover, so we can take this as an empty. The crystal passive sonar. Don't need it. This is who we have here. Let's see. Individual. Scientist, of course. Thank you. 2 descriptors: rude and fancy. Okay, so this is going to be scientists of house. I need a house. I need a house. House. House Dalianis. Okay. So we need a name because it's a person. Let's say leader. I need a name. Give me a name. Prakash. Corsonia. Okay, Prakash sounds good. Prakash. House Dalianis. Rude fancy. Wants to control competition. Cool. So we need to refine this scene because we need to add this before we start playing. From coming through. And so they're going to see a small research submarine emanating a light of warning, do not pass. And they're going to try to open communication with them. In particular, I think Violet will do that. And they're going to respond. Who's this? This is a no entry zone. This is a research area for House Dalianis. Bailiff says, we just want to pass through. We are on our way for a different area, but we need to come through this region. Permission to pass. No, there's nothing to see here. Find a different way. So we need either Bailiff is going to approach it through contacts and find someone who can help them, or do a reports roll. So for contacts, does he know someone? It's going to roll contacts on a difficulty 1d4 plus 1, 3. So he's going to call headquarters and ask permissions to get through. Headquarters here. Expedition Cetus 9. Here Bailiff, Bora, and Agent Folden from House Silva. We are in area 6239-1. There's a research expedition by House Talianis. We need permission to get through this area, neutral area zone. And he's going to send that to headquarter agent. And it's going to get a 4 against a difficulty of 3. So he's going to get Roger that, Bailiff. Let us handle that for you. We're going to help. And he's going to send over the signal frequency at which they should communicate to. So they're going to try their best, but it might not be enough. Does headquarters succeed? Yes. So they have to wait. Still time passes through. They spent like a day already, and the expedition just started. But he's going to get a message. Commander Bailiff, the requisition has been granted. There's no buts here or anything, so I guess they can just come through. But they're going to say, you're not allowed to stay. You must go through. This is a neutral area and it's not on the limits of what we can go through. Roger that. And the submarine is going to pass through this off-limit area. They're going to receive a message from the scientists of House Dalianis. And they're kind of very attentive. They want to make sure that the submarine Cetus 9 does not take the time to explore this phenomena that they can see, but Bora is way too curious for that. And she's going to ask Bailiff and Folden, guys, what if this is what we're looking for, these crystal formations? This could help us on our investigation. Please let me send a probe. Agent Folden says it's too dangerous. If they tell us, we can initiate political complications. It's too risky. I can make it. So I'm not sure if she can convince them what Bailiff says. She's going to prepare the sensors of the ship to send a probe, but it's going to be very, very difficult. The difficulty is going to be 1d6 plus 1. That's a difficulty of 5. To do a sensor check, probe, or investigate roll, to learn and gather clues from there without being noticed. So that's going to be a teamwork effort, because someone needs to take care of the cloaking of the sensors, and Bora can focus on the rest with the AI help. So choose, guys. Who's got the best? So I think Bailiff is going to work on the Cetus 9 to do sensor test check. The difficulty for the overcome. So they need to gather 2 tokens. 3 tokens, let's say, to succeed this mission. Bailiff is going to focus on keeping the cloaking systems of the ship tight. Bora is going to focus on sending the probes. And Agent Folden, what can he do? I guess he can help with the stealth clothing of the ship. Yeah, he's going to lead it actually, because he's much better at stealth. And he knows the ship. So yeah, but the difficulty base of this mission is 5. That's very high, so they have to give their best. I'm going to spend 1 fate point, last fate point of Agent Folden. to roll for the first stealth check. This is +4, +1 from the assistance, +2 from sensor systems of cloaking. That's a total of +3. Oh, and +1, +2 because of the fate point. So this roll is going to be a +5 on top of the results. That's pretty bad. Oh, that's a terrible roll. Okay, but 2 + 5 because of the fate points and the systems of the AI. They succeed 1 token. So Bailiff and Folden work on the cloaking systems. Bailiff makes sure the submarine is submitting a passive signal lightning to be disguised as a just passing submarine, and Bora is going to send the probe. The probe is going to be an investigate. +4. She's going to spend an fate point here because she's a research lead. She's talented data engineer, so this is going to take a +2 roll. 5. Success with a cost. So the cost, what can the cost be? So she's going to be able to tell that there are crystalline formations, and she's going to learn 1 clue towards the mission. And we need for that an event check to see what's the clue. She's going to learn something's moving away. Okay, so it's going to be a red herring. Release pain. So we said these artifacts, crystalline artifacts, keep away other forms of life somehow. She's going to learn that. And she's going to learn that this causes pain to the aliens around here. And from the probes, she can tell that these crystals keep away, like emanate a certain Mercurian-based chemical. That's actually very damaging for the health, but it really does not explain how is it, or whether it could be affecting the outages they are researching. So this is going to be quite of an ambiguous clue, but we're going to still write that down because it's an important piece of clue. So open the adventure notes. Outcome. The crew submits a research probe on strange crystalline formations. They do it illegally, but manage to stay cloaked. Bora learns these crystalline emissions cause hazardous damage to alien life, but does not explain energetical damage caused to facilities. So that's what these crystals are being researched by House Taliani. So that's also a clue in a way, but we cannot investigate so much in detail with them being here. So maybe in the future we come back to this place. For further research. So that's going to be open. I'm going to open a thread list for that because it's not nice. House Talianis running a research on Mercurian based chemicals dominated by a natural phenomenon. Okay, that's too much info for a plotline, but what is House Dalianis researching with? What's the name of this location? Blasphemous crystals. Silvery liquid. Okay. Silver liquid crystals. So that plotline is going to remain open. So yes, that's scene number 3. So thank you. I hope this made sense. This was quite a smooth beginning of investigation game. I hope this was useful, and I'm not sure how much fun it is to see, but I hope you took something out of it. So this, of course, I'm using Foundry. This is quite a complex setup, but it's really not. It's actually just the macros for rolling dice, location crafter here, and adventure crafter mythic lists. I'm using the focus table of one of the magazines that shows how to mix mythic with adventure crafter, which I find cool. And finally, I'm using the scene challenge, the tri-cube scene challenge mechanic to always place a challenge in the scene as a goal. And this scene structure helps me get going really well. So I hope you like this. Maybe it's useful. I'm going to share it on my blog as a template. It's really straightforward, I think. But yeah, bye-bye.